Tonight, we got a little DC news, we got a little Marvel news, we got a guest co-host, Newbie Comics in the house on Comic Book Canon. That's right, we are back. It's Friday, another WandaVision Friday. I am loving this series. I know you are too. We're going to talk about that later, all the way in the Q&A, because we got a full show today, and I'm going to bring in my partner in crime, my co-host, Christopher. Chris, how are you, buddy? What is that all? Oh, what are you doing? Are you backing something up here? I don't know what.
Y'all see it?
No, yeah, that's better framed right there because all we saw was your ass before. But respect to Kobe Bryant.
All right,
yes.
man. I failed. I party fouled that one, huh?
Yeah, that didn't play like how you probably saw that in your head. But the intention was there, and that's great. That's wonderful.
Look, we do it live, and whatever happens, happens, man.
Exactly, and you guys have been seeing that too, because Chris is in a battle with his internet company. That is right, in an absolute battle, and he's losing right now, but he will win. So if you guys see him freezing up, be kind, and just bear with us, because we'll make it happen. But again, as I stated at the top of the show here, we have a very special co-host, Newbie Comics, Joel from Newbie Comics, y'all. Probably know this guy. He's broke some really amazing news in the past. He does a lot of cool spec reviews and things like that on his channel. His link is below, Newbie Comics. Please click and subscribe. Guarantee you. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get through the news first. Then we're gonna bring Joel in. But let's go through what else is on the show here. News, guest co-host, Newbie Comics. We got the Cosmic Minute. Tom Tormey is back talking about the Human Torch. Fantastic cosmic history lesson for y'all. Then we have, fresh from the comic shop, Joel will be joining us there as well, and the top 10 hottest comics of the week. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends about the show because we love talking comic books every Friday night with you guys. That is right. Also, again, we will be talking about WandaVision. That is right. We will be talking about WandaVision. We want to get through a full show and let all y'all who haven't seen it leave so we can talk about it and we don't spoil anything for you. But with that being said, why don't we just get to the news? How about it?
Some good stuff this week.
I feel like I just took over that whole show intro. You may have some words. I don't know. I usually let you talk, but I'm just amped.
I already worked for tips, so I think I did my thing. So yeah, let's just get to the news.
All right, so there's news, right? And we're starting to see a lot of good news in the comic book universe in terms of the properties that are out there that are on the big screen, the little screen, what have you. This is great news because Thor: Love and Thunder has begun filming this week in Australia. That is right. We saw some set pics from the Daily Mail. They posted some Love and Thunder set pics. Now, guys, this isn't earth-shattering, but the fact that things are moving along in this COVID world on a production we are all highly anticipating is something to be excited about. That's right, because check this out. This is Daily Mail posted some of these set pics of Centennial Park in Sydney, home of Raider Bear, by the way. Raider Bear, we love you if you're watching right now. Some online have speculated that these images are, Gore the God Butcher's homeworld potentially. Again, nothing super exciting. Looks like mounds of dirt, but here's the thing. It's moving forward. Thor: Love and Thunder. It's gonna be awesome. So that is first and foremost. But next, the director, Taika Waititi, posted some interesting pictures as well. That's right. He posted photos from the Welcome to Country ceremony, which marks the start of production and acknowledges the First Nations people of Australia. The Thor: Love and Thunder director wants other filmmakers to follow suit in working with First Nations people. Now, some of y'all may wonder, there's Taika Waititi, you see Thor in the background, or I'm sorry, Chris Helmsworth, aka Thor in the background. Some may be wondering what First Nations people means. First Nations people, it's a name that recognizes the Aborigines and Torres Strait Islander people as the first people of Australia. First Nations recognizes Aborigines and Torres Strait Islander people as the sovereign people of Australia. That's right. So a ceremonial, kind of get together, paying respect to everybody, as well as Thor himself, Chris Helmsworth. That is really good to see. But the news doesn't stop there with Thor: Love and Thunder. No! James Gunn was asked a question on Twitter. Out of curiosity, are you consulting on Guardians of the Galaxy characters in Thor: Love and Thunder? Because we all know that Star-Lord will be playing a part. I do believe Drax as well. Yes, have been doing that. They're in great hands with Taika Waititi. So, as we can see, James Gunn will be working in some way, shape, or form with Taika Waititi on Love and Thunder. We are highly anticipating this film, Chris, because I love Thor Ragnarok. How about you?
I did. And I also love the fact that this is tying into Guardians of the Galaxy, which we know has been delayed even before COVID. So, extra delays for here. So I think this movie is going to really move in that direction that Guardians was going, as well as Thor, and so many things. I talked about characters that I think are going to show up in this movie. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think this shows too that, like you said, it's not much, but it gives us some kind of normalcy, makes us feel like something's moving along in the world right now, and that in of itself is not just exciting, but it's really fulfilling in here, right?
Absolutely. Again, Chris and I have been saying this for months now, that the floodgates will be opening up because all of this stuff is in the can already, and they are starting to film these newer projects, which they just announced, recently. So it's just really, really exciting. But we have some other exciting MCU news, Chris.
Man, Anthony Mackie spills the beans on what's going on in Falcon and Winter Soldier, guys. I kind of had this theory, but Anthony Mackie in an interview actually made a statement about the new Cap showing up at the end of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I will quote Anthony Mackie in his own words, quote, "At the end of Endgame, Sam didn't accept the shield. If you remember, he told Steve, it doesn't feel right because the shield is yours. So, the show was a long way of figuring around who's going to be Captain America. Where's the shield going to end up? And if Captain America, if that moniker is going to come back, and if somebody's going to hold that moniker again," end quote. So here he is saying, yes, Captain America is going to show up. Somebody's going to get that shield. He's not really hinting it at it being himself. I actually thought going into this, once we saw the trailer, I said, you know what? Because we saw the shield kind of like in that museum. I said, he's going to push it off. He's not worthy. But then at the end of the show, he's going to get that shield and he's going to be the new Cap. That was my theory. But now, even though he's kind of pointing his fingers to it, might be somebody else, we got a toy leaked that almost confirms what most of us probably believe to be is true. So we got some image leaks on Twitter showing a new toy of Sam Wilson's Falcon in what looks to be absolutely 100% a Captain American outfit. Now, keep in mind, what we saw him as in the trailer, that was a red and white suit that looked more like his classic comic book suit. This one is a blend between kind of the Winter Soldier Cap suit and the classic Cap suit, because he has the white. He has the red, white, and blue, but then he has the white and red stripes going down on the stomach area there. And the toy comes with the shield. So I think this is happening. I think this is a dead giveaway. I will say, just to play devil's advocate, sometimes toy lines will release different, renditions of characters. Like I remember Amazing Spider-Man, when those two films came out, we got like 20 different Spider-Mans and 20 different suits, but they were still manufactured under the Amazing Spider-Man film franchise toy line. So, you never know, but I don't know. Like I said, I thought that this was going to happen towards the end of the film. Could this toy be a giveaway or just a marketing ploy?
It's a giveaway. It says Falcon and the Winter Soldier on that packaging. BR Marvel News at BR Marvel News on Twitter. They have these they get this info. They get these images way before anybody else. It's definitely happening. He's going to be Captain America. Sorry if it's a spoiler, but I want it to happen. I think you do too, Chris. I mean,
absolutely. Hey, remember when we reported like a couple months back too off of that picture of that weird toy that looked like a really what do you call it? Like a it wasn't even in like it was cut in a proper to the press toy, but we were talking about then as them doing some toy concept for Captain America, Falcon as Captain America. So
yeah, it's exactly so. The toy industry tends to ruin these things, but you know what else? You know what's not to be ruined? We want to give you guys a heads up on Captain America number 25. This is the first time that Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. Be on the lookout for this book. It's starting to really kind of increase in price here, but you may be able to find these in the dollar bins. they are probably still hidden away there. It's going for $20 raw on cover price and $117 at a 9.8. So again, just be on the lookout for this book. They are out there, and people are going to be looking for those, especially when Sam Wilson becomes the MCU's Captain America. All right. But Chris, I got some more MCU news. I haven't even cracked open my first beer and I'm already bleh. I got some more MCU news for us, Chris, and our audience here. I want to get right to it. How about it?
Yes.
Now, it is about WandaVision, but it is not a spoiler because this episode aired last week. And if you haven't seen it a week ago, I'm sorry. Shut down your computer, catch up right now because the show is absolutely fantastic. But what is going to be the future of the twins? As we know, Wanda gave birth to twins, Tommy and Billy. Super exciting because it's following some storylines, with the comic. So it's quite interesting. According to director Matt Shakman, William and Thomas, Billy and Tommy, will be sticking around for the long haul. Yeah, the twins are part of our world, said Shakman. Wanda and Vision's kids, of course, and where they go, who knows? That is quite interesting because there may be a life after this television show. We're all kind of figuring out that Wanda's maybe creating an alternate reality here, creating kids out of thin air. It does follow a comic storyline from back in the 80s. And speaking of that, be on the lookout for these books as well. You got Young Avengers #1. That's the first appearance of Wiccan, who is one of the twins. That's pretty pricey here. That's going for $116 raw and $278 at a 9.8. Now on the other side here, we have Vision and Scarlet Witch Young Avengers #10. That's the first Speed, going for $37 raw and $131 at a 9.8. Definitely be on the lookout for these books, as well as Vision and Scarlet Witch #12. This is a series from the 80s where the twins were first introduced to the Marvel Universe. This is going for $41 raw and $245 at 9.8. Is starting to be sought after, especially after last week's episode. Now, Chris, wondering what you're thinking about getting William and Thomas long term here in the MCU. Maybe as Wiccan and Speed, because they're starting to put together all of these young characters that can create a young group, such as the Young Avengers.
Yeah, and I agree. And this is one thing too, where there's so much around this. Now, obviously, like the pregnancy was sped up in the episode, and there's so much magic, or even black magic or dark magic, and all different kind of stuffs, bending of multiverses. Who knows what's going on that we don't know yet? That could, in this specific situation, possibly age these characters faster. So where we might see them in, young adult roles, where we don't have to wait like on a proper timeline. I could see that happening as well. But again, I state that's specific to these characters because obviously it's just out there and weird, and we don't know the context or what type of crazy magic is involved with these children even being, coming into fruition.
Absolutely. And again, it's an interesting way that the director put it. The twins are part of our world. Wanda and Vision's kids, of course, and where they go, who knows? So that could be taken in many ways. And I think, we all want it a certain way, because I would love to see Speed and Wiccan. That could lead to Hulkling, because we got Kate Bishop coming, and America Chavez is coming as well. So quite interesting in the world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Speaking of, though, Chris, you have some more Marvel Cinematic Universe news, isn't that right?
Yeah. Well, we got there's some optimism on the movie studio front. So there was a report by the Hollywood Reporter that discussed no plans from these large studios to release films, especially the top tier films, on video on demand. And what's included in that, obviously, Black Widow. And we just reported, I believe it was last week or the week before, there might be more potential delays. Here's what we know. So there are hopes, due to the COVID vaccine, that there's going to be some type of normalcy, in studios are holding on to those cinematic release dates. Obviously, that means furthering the delays in attempt to maximize profits, right? So we got a quote, John Fithian, president, CEO of the National Association of Theater Owners, said this, quote, "The tunnel of this pandemic for exhibitors has been long, but the light at the end of the tunnel looks very bright indeed." End quote. So basically, speaking on the studios want to simply hold out for a chance to grab that box office revenue instead of the video on demand option. That's obviously extremely logical. Now, so what does this mean specifically for Black Widow? Insiders are stating that there's no point to a video on demand release still at this, where we're at today, but there's no official delay yet. None of that has been confirmed either. So that's leaving Black Widow on the table for its May 7th release date. My thoughts on this is this, just like as we discussed last week, the window for delays for this film are getting smaller. They can only delay this film up until where, the timeline will actually work. All right. We know that's going to be a brick wall, but here's what I do know. Marvel isn't going to rush into anything, and they're not going to say anything unless it's concrete. So whether that's if they know that they're going to delay it, or they know that there might be some chance of putting it to, VOD, video on demand, they're not going to say until they absolutely know for certain, and until they absolutely need to, which is, contrary to what, Warner Brothers has been doing, and rightfully so. They're just in a whole different place than Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios does not need to tell us anything right now, or do anything that's going to kind of make fans feel salty about either a video on demand release or another delay or anything like that. So it's really up in the air right now, in my opinion.
Tom Tormey, everybody. We love Tom Tormey. We are going to see another Cosmic Minute in a few minutes here, but Tom brings up a point here. There's no urgency to release Black Widow since there are no MCU films coming out anytime soon. Tom, that's not actually correct, because you have WandaVision, you have Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out. As of right now, it looks like Black Widow is still scheduled to come out May 7th, but probably not. You have the Eternals coming out, but you also have a Loki series. What other series? There's another series coming out this year that I can't remember. There's a lot going on, Tom. There's a lot that is scheduled right now, and there is an urgency because there's going to be a point they're going to have to release this, even if it's on Disney Plus. I'm sorry, Chris and I talked about this last week. Yep. We still stand by this idea that it's going to hold up the whole universe. Now, granted, it's a prequel, and maybe it won't have ties to what is going on, and they could kind of swap things around.
Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know. On top of the fact they are kind of losing money as well, because that money is in a hole. That money was supposed to be recouped last year. Here we are a year after it was supposed to come out, and it's looking like it may not. So there's still a hole in their pockets. So they're going to want to do something. Mulan seemed to do okay in that respect. As what they have another Disney has another release. It's an animated release coming out soon. Something like Legend of Ray. It looks really good, actually, a Pixar film. That they're going to be releasing on Disney Plus as well. So I don't know how much longer they can hold out, but Chris, you're right. They're not saying anything right now because they don't have to say anything. They're going to see what's happening with the vaccines and all that good stuff. So anyway, sorry I just hijacked that whole topic. No. We're going to move on to another topic that Chris is just going to take care of. And then we have our very special co-host, Joel from NEWBIE Comics, coming up. So Chris, take us to our last piece of news, which is actually, Chris is spinning something around here to make DC, just make something positive out of DC, because they haven't had much positivity to them as of late. Go for it.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into what we were just talking about Marvel being able to sit on something and not make announcements. We know we reported recently that DC's been making announcements and then going back on those announcements, and it's just been a complete and utter mess. But this may be something that DC has done right. All right. And that's Wonder Woman 84's HBOMAX release. So it's been reported that HBOMAX has reached 41 million subscribership. 41 million subscribers was a goal that they set out to reach 2 years from now. That's amazing. And yes, absolutely, Wonder Woman 84 helped. Now, we have our feelings. Some of us may have liked it more than others. Some of us felt a little short about it. We expected more. Sure. I still found it decently entertaining. Hey, it was what it was. But I think DC's decision to do what they did with this film and moving forward with their 2021 slate bringing it to HBO Max is the reason why they're having this success. And I truly believe if the shoe fits, right? You don't expect Marvel Studios to do this with Disney Plus or with Hulu and bring all their properties over to streaming. They don't need to do that. The shoe doesn't fit. DC has been in such a mess of a place that this shoe is fitting and it's working. Let's do a comparative breakdown. All right. Disney Plus gained 26 million subscribers in its first 2 months. All right. HBO Max is just now hitting 41 million. I don't know how many Disney Plus has now, but I could tell you if they did 26 million in the first 2 months, it's way beyond that now. Way beyond that. And there's 9 million subscribers added from September to January. So, you know, again, it's not comparative to what Disney and Marvel Studios is doing all around. But again, when we're looking specifically at what Warner Brothers needs to do with DC, this is a silver lining here that shows that they've done something right. And because of that, I'm very happy to support HBO Max and accept all of these, you know, big budget cinematic releases that are coming straight to on demand. And I'll be watching them. And I think because of that, it's okay. They might be subpar. And I'm not going to feel bad about spending $50 to $80 going and seeing it in a movie theater where you may get those negative reviews. I mean, and again, I'm gonna end it on this. What if Wonder Woman released? I know it released in some theaters and it did decently well, but what if we weren't in COVID? What if we just came out of COVID and we were thirsting for this film and it got the backlash that it did? I think that would have really dropped the profit margins of what it would have made after that first weekend or first week release.
Yeah, I mean, it was a subpar film. That's all speculative. We can't really say what would have happened there. But, you know, again, Chris and I want to see DC succeed. They just don't have a track record of actually succeeding. And I am very skeptical about the plans that they do have in place right now, because the WB president saying one thing, the DC Films president saying another thing, directors are saying it's just an absolute mess. There's no coherence as to what they're doing here. I'm looking forward to Suicide Squad. I'm also looking forward to this next little nugget that we're talking about. Speaking of HBO Max, Chris, we got the Snyder Cut. That was an awkward pause, guys. That's what we call an awkward pause. Apologize there. But we got the Snyder Cut just announced, coming out March 18th on HBO Max. That's right, with a nice little poster there from Zack Snyder. He tweeted that out. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. Chris has stated as such too. I hope you guys are as well. I see a lot of haters in the comments for DC, and that's fine. That's fine. But you know, I mean, yeah, Tom Tormey says it best here. Not that one. If I saw Wonder Woman 84 in theaters, I would have been doubly disappointed. Yeah, you're right. I was in the comfort of my own home. I was watching it. I was just happy to see a superhero on screen at that point, some sort of cinematic universe, and I liked it for that fact, and then I realized I didn't like the film as much as I thought I did. Anyways, but we'll be moving on here from the news, right, Chris? That's our news, and it was a good news week, right? It was very good. Good news week. Lots going on, but I'm really excited about what's coming up right now because we got our guest co-host in the house, Joel from NEWBIE Comics. How are you, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
We are doing great. We're doing even better knowing that we have you on this week. So.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Man, I always love, watching you guys, especially Chris. He just gets so into it. You can see the raw emotion of this stuff. I love it. You guys are solid dudes.
Thank you.
That's some interesting stuff. I didn't know about Thor and, the scenes and all that. I had heard about the toy with Captain America, so that's pretty cool. And I agree with you guys on DC. It's just a little crazy, you know what I mean? Like, there's no structure. Like, if the guy at the top is saying, "Hey, yeah, this is happening," then everybody else is saying, "No, maybe." It's so. Hey.
Is it fair to say you want to see DC succeed, right?
Of course.
And it's also fair to say that you've been pretty much disappointed with every offering they've had, most offerings they've had.
You know what? I was. This might surprise a lot of people because I'm more heavy into Marvel, but I respect and like DC. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I loved the Christian Bale Batmans. Anything after that, it was. I mean, hey, you know what? It is my opinion. Don't take it. Don't put me on a cross. They were just bad. I remember Suicide Squad when they were coming out. You know, you had Will Smith, Margot Robbie. It was supposed to be like their, their shining star, and it wasn't. So yeah.
Listen, you're preaching to the choir here. We want to see him succeed. I thought Man of Steel was great. I thought Aquaman was good. Wonder Woman was good. Shazam was good. Everything else to me, nah. But anyways, we're not here to talk about DC. We're here to talk about you first before we get into the rest of the show. Tell us about NEWBIE Comics, right? Guys, actually, I'm going to say a few things. This is the guy that broke the news on who the secret identity of Virus was during that whole Venom time right there. He was the one who was brave enough to come out and say, hey, I got it. I know this is fact. Here it is. So kudos to you. But tell us a little bit more about NEWBIE Comics.
Yeah, for that, I also want to thank the guys, the team. I call them a comic family, but, Keys, Hyper. Hyper wasn't around at that time, but, Face and Keys especially. But, yeah, we do a show on Sundays. We get really into New Comic Book Day, just to give guys and ladies the last-minute details on some books to pick up, things like that. It's usually a fun show. I mispronounce words. I have my own characters in my own newbie verse, as Hyper would say. Tuesdays, we kick it off. We have different segments. We talk spec. We talk what would you rather, where we compare books. We look at price points, things like that. It's always fun. The chats really get into it. We're on at 9:30 every Sunday, every Tuesday. I got my guys there, Hyper Combo, Mr. Key Issues, aka Mr. Sleeveless, and then we got FaceTime. So yeah, it's a fun time. The conversations are great, the chat's great, and yeah, just come for the comics, the spec, the fun times, man. It's really good time.
Yes, absolutely. I've enjoyed watching you as well, because what we were talking about before the show started is like how you kind of learn something from everybody and all these other different channels, and you guys really get into the spec game and talking and kind of dig into the nitty gritty. And that's what I love that stuff. I absolutely love that stuff. So guys, follow him. Link is below or subscribe to him. Link is below on the description for his YouTube. Also NEWBIE Comics on IG right there. You see that. No reason you guys should not be following Joel here and his team. But all right, speaking of, we got a team here. We got 3 comic book collectors. And we're going to get into a segment that we love each and every week. We love this, guys. But before we start, before I name the segment, we want you guys to be sharing with us in the comments. That's the caveat here. That's the unwritten rule. Share with us what comic books you got here. Because right now, we are going over fresh from the comic shop. That's right, each and every week. Chris and I, and sometimes a guest co-host, go through 5 books that they picked up this week. They could be from your local comic book shop. They could be from the mail, what have you. They're new in your collection, and they are fresh. So y'all better tell us what you got as well, and we'll share that too. But since Joel is our guest, Joel is going to go first. I'm going to bring him full screen. He's going to tell us about his first pick of the week that he picked up. He's going to show it right on the camera, and we're going to check it out. What do you got, Joel?
So I just want to point out, I'm located in Canada. Where we are, it is locked down. Okay, so when we do New Comic Book Day, we can only pick up. So the shops aren't really ordering as much. So I was able to pick up some. The first book is, and it's gonna contradict what I just said. This is a book I'm usually picking up if I find it. I love the cover. Who knows if he shows up spec wise, but it is Web of Spider-Man 100. I've always loved the armored Spider-Man from the cartoons, so I picked that one up super cheap and cost me like $5. Heading into the
whoa, you only go one at a time. I don't know what you're trying to do. You're trying to hijack this whole segment.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just kidding. No, I love that book, by the way. Love that 90s freaking gimmicky cover book. It's beautiful. And that costume, it's awesome. Like, that's when things started to get, okay, Spider-Man can have different costumes other than his black one and his red and blue. So that's a nice pickup, especially for $5. I've seen a lot of people picking that one up too. Yeah. I don't know if there's any spec around that or anything, but it's a nice little pickup. Definitely. All right, Chris, we're going to have you go next.
All right. I got my mail subscription. that I took off auto renewal just for you guys to know. All right. This is Star Wars number 10, guys. I am reading this series, and I wanted to talk about it today just because I don't really know what to think. There's so much hype around Star Wars right now, and I'm 10 issues into this run. So the new volume started last year, and it takes place right after Empire Strikes Back. And technically, so this is new canon, right? Everything that's going on is canon now. And I'm 10 issues in, and I don't know where it's going. I read the first couple of issues, and I was bored as hell. And then something went down with Luke where he went on this journey and had to meet another a Jedi and stuff like that. And that was kind of cool. That took place in a couple of issues. And now it's just, I don't know, guys. So it really, and I know a lot of those old EU heads or real Star Wars fans that are from the Dark Horse generation. I don't know if Marvel's really doing it yet with this. Obviously, it's early in. My one complaint is this. And this is just with a lot of comics overall in this day and age. There's not much story arc in one book. So by the time you open up the first page, you get to the last page, like the only thing that happened is like Luke walked down an aisle and said something to a couple people, something blew up, and that's it. Right? Where you can read a whole comic book from like, the 70s or 80s, and it's like it's a whole storyline in the comic, But I'll tell you what, I'll end on this note. Shortening the story up in each issue is done well. It can be done well. You know who does that well? Donny Cates. Donny Cates, you can read through a Donny Cates book and you can read it in like 5 to 10 minutes, but you come away like, yo, that was dope. I can't wait till the next one. This, not so much. And I'm kind of like on it right now.
Yeah, you definitely seem to be at. There was a first appearance there, like the Starlight Squadron or something like that as well. So people are going crazy for that because any first appearance with Star Wars these days, people are on it, like buying hundreds of copies, hoping to be able to put their kids through
this
college.
one? This one? I didn't even notice. So.
That's number 10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. That's a good pickup, though, and it's good to know because I had that, haven't read it yet. I was thinking about getting into because I'm loving the Darth Vader series, and I don't know. Beechner just said Bounty Hunter. Vader and Bounty Hunter are way better. Sith Lordly, I mean, the guy knows his Star Wars. He says Dark Horse Star Wars is better new and old Marvel. Fair enough. We all, Sith Lordly is the expert, so we all bow down. All right, here we go. My turn, guys. So, it was revealed that hasn't been officially announced, but come on, it's happening. Chris Evans will be returning to the MCU. Who knows how, right? Who knows how? But there's so many different ways for Marvel to bring him back in. And one of those ways, the multiverse of madness is coming around. Is it possible we may see a Steve Rogers who is the leader of Hydra? So I decided, I just picked this book up. I had to, right? This is Captain America. Steve Rogers is Captain America #1. This is the second print, though, because he says, Hail Hydra on the cover, which is a big deal to everybody when that first print, that first issue came out. So I was like, I'm just going to get this book because who knows? It could pop if he ever does come back in that role, because I don't think it's going to be as ingrained as he has been in the MCU during the first 10 years. So, but it's exciting he's coming back, and I kind of like this run too. I did not have this issue, and it says Hail Hydra on the cover, so I was quite excited about that. So that's what I got. That's my first pick. So, all right, Joel, your turn.
So, and that's a good pickup, actually, man. That's a really solid pickup.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I only got it for $5 too, so why not, right?
That's pretty good. So, my next pickup is going to surprise a lot of people. I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I bought this book. So here's the thing: I bought this book. I sold it, but I just got another copy. So that's cool because this book actually just surfaced on a certain app, and it's kind of blowing up. But it is Darth Maul #2, first appearance of Cade Bane. So this was a mail thing that I'm getting. So I'm kind of cheating because I know it's coming, but this is the copy I'm selling. I have to ship off tomorrow. So I'm kind of cheating, but not really. But yeah, this book is heating up right now. Like I said, it just got put on that app, and a lot of people are chasing it. So yeah, really, really cool book to have. Plus, it's a good Darth Maul cover for sure.
Yo, a lot of those Darth Maul covers are fans. I think the first issue where he's off to the side like that, badass covers. I've seen a lot of those books too. Yeah, the Cade Bane. Is that the first appearance?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely good. I mean, people are telling you guys, Star Wars books, if you don't know, it's like me saying grass is green, but they are super hot for any sort of appearance, first appearance coming out. People are speculating all over because there are going to be so many outlets for these characters to have, to have the physical kind of the in an action series. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, it's an exciting time. I'm talking way too fast here. It's an exciting time to be a Star Wars fan. I'm excited, as you can tell. So anyways, Chris, what do you got next?
All right, guys. I picked up another book off the 2021 want list. I keep saying on my channel that I need to do a video where I'm showing and crossing off all the books that I got so far. And then I was joking about making it a January want list instead of a 2021. But I saw this book on eBay. I thought this was going to be one of the tougher ones to get to. And you guys, if you know me, you know that I'm not a stickler for, it has to be high grade, near mint, especially for older books. I'm all good. I'm about presentation. If it's a lower grade or mid grade, but it presents well, I'm all for it. This was I do believe it was a bid, or was it a best offer? I actually don't know. I don't remember. I do remember what I paid, and I'll share that with you guys. This is Batman number 237, first appearance of the Reaper. Beautiful Neil Adams. And it's definitely a mid-grade. I know the Mylar makes it pop a little more than it is, but I haven't pressed it up or anything. It's definitely got some spine wear, a little bit of rippage by the staples, but look at that color. Some color breaks around the corners and rounding of the edges, but the color just, see if I can get a little more light. There we go. Look at that color just pop, man. Beautiful. So, this book can cost you up to over a couple $100 depending on the grade. I paid $20 for this book plus $10 shipping. I couldn't believe it.
Damn.
Where did you get that? That is a beautiful book. Any sort of Neil Adams Batman it's gonna be beautiful. Where did you get that for $30 all in?
eBay. I'll tell you guys. Wow. Well, actually, I'll tell you right now. If it was a bid or if it was a best offer, because I really like taking advantage.
As you're looking here, Tom Nordley, I did a swipe with that Batman cover for an assignment in 10th grade English class. That's awesome.
Wow. Let's see.
You guys, thank you also for letting us know what you got. We're going to get into those as soon as we get through our 5 books here. Looks like people got a lot of books. I'm going to have to go digging through these comments.
It was a bid, guys. $20.50.
Damn.
$20.50 plus $9.99 shipping. I'm still blown away by that.
Hell yeah, that's a win. That's a win in any of our books right there. 100%. That's a great pickup, Chris. All right, moving on. This is my second book that I'm sharing with you guys on Fresh from the Comic Shop. Now, I like to go digging in dollar bins and just picking stuff up, especially stuff that sticks out to me that I have been in conversations and other people have been talking about too. So this is a book called Wretches, issue number 1. This is a Scout Comics book, and I do believe, I couldn't remember, I was supposed to look this up. Earlier, I totally forgot, but I do believe is optioned as well. So I got 2 issues number 1 for $2. Why not? I haven't read it yet. I like the cover art so far. I'm not familiar with any of the creators. If you guys are, or if you've read it, let me know what you think, but why not? Pick this up, took a chance. I was a risk taker. My daughter would say, she's 5. She's a risk taker when she does something different. I did something different there, and I was a risk taker. All right, Joel, what do you got?
All right. Like you said, fresh from the comic shop. You can't go wrong right now. But I got the Star Wars High Republic second print. I think by Wednesday they were reaching like $30, $35 already. I don't know. I got the first print. I got this one. I have the third print going. I'm just gonna try to do the set thing where I have the sets. But yeah, definitely. Me not being a Star Wars guy, you also can't pass up on the opportunity of learning and getting into it. So yeah, definitely pick these ones up.
Yeah, man. Hyper Combo Comics, Fire Books, indeed. I mean, those are hard to pick up. That's the second print. They were probably under ordered. I have 3 coming my way. It's a good pickup because that's the first cover appearance of all of those new characters as well. I think it's a lower print run than the High Republic is, and the High Republic print run is presumably insane, and that's sold out too. So those are hard books to get right there. Yeah, let's bring you up full screen here. Definitely. Yep, that's cover A right there. I like the story. I don't know if you've read it yet, Joel, but it's great, man. And I'm super psyched for what's going to happen with these, because there's the show The Acolytes, which is going to explore the end of the High Republic. Mm-hmm. Who knows if it's within this time frame, if those characters will show. Obviously, Yoda will. Yeah. But that's, man, good on you. All right. Yeah. Now, this kind of ties into some things you were talking about, Joel, my next pickup here, okay? So, I see you get really enthusiastic when people are saying, like, Riri Williams, what Ironheart's first appearance is, when she's actually in the armor, because Ironheart 1 has a a cover of her in the armor, and there's many variants of that, right? So I see you, but it's actually issue number 3 where she is Ironheart, right?
Right. Yes.
So I'm giving you Chris and I are giving you the platform to explain it here too, because I completely agree with you.
Yeah. So a lot of people, if I had it here, actually I have that number 1 issue, but I think it might be in the pile downstairs for like CGC. Number 1, yes, it does have her in the cover on the cover with the armor. It says Ironheart. It doesn't say that she's calling herself Ironheart or anything like that. The biggest thing is a lot of people don't necessarily open the book. If you open issue number 3, she is named Ironheart. It's in there. I've posted it many times. I was just getting frustrated with people saying it was number 1. It's kind of annoying because all you have to do is just open the book, and people were just saying it. The argument coming back my way is, well, it's her first cover appearance. Yeah, and that's great, but you also have to look at different books. Look at Gwenum. Look at Gwenpool. Perfect example. Like Gwenpool shows up in that Secret Wars book, but she's not actually in it. She's in Howard the Duck 1. Gwenum, same thing. She shows up in Nowhere Universe. She's on the cover, but she's not necessarily in the book. She's in Spider-Gwen 24, right? So it's just, kind of doing your due diligence and like opening the book up. Yep. And but that one is close to my heart. So like when people start arguing, I'm like, look, I have the book. I'll open it for you. Like, look. So yeah.
As Thorough says, read your books, right? Yeah, absolutely. So I have those issues as well, and I completely got your back on that. This ties in because it's an Ironheart book, and again, this is in the dollar bin. We have the Ironheart series coming out, guys, like on Disney Plus, which we were all blown away that they announced that. So start looking for your Ironheart books, right? Your Ironheart keys. And this one right here is number 11. I got 3 of these for $1 each. This is the first appearance of Riri Williams' father. He cameos in issue number 10. This is the first appearance. So be on the lookout. Any Riri Williams you guys can find, get them now in the dollar bins, because she may pop up in like Miss Marvel. We don't know, but like she's coming. So get ready. Get your Miss or your Riri Williams books.
I'll tell you right now, and it's always bad coming from like, when you take the guy, like if you're obsessed with Batman and he's telling you the Batman stuff, because you're like, yeah, okay, whatever. But I promise you guys, I think Riri is gonna have a bigger deal than most people think. So yeah, definitely get it right now when it's like super quiet.
Yep, because they're gonna start going to production. You're gonna start seeing pictures. Then she's gonna pop, just like Miss Marvel did. So, anyways, moving on. So, Joel, you got your 3rd book coming up. Is it your 3rd or your 4th? 4th.
Yeah, fourth book.
Here we go. We're jamming through this, guys. All right.
So this was actually, I didn't think I was actually going to be able to get it. I didn't think my shops were going to have it. I've been hearing some really good things. One source told me it was the book, and like would always message me in caps to get it. But it is Dead End Kids number 1. I'm hearing that this is low print run. It hasn't been really picked up. There's a bright future for it. I don't know anything about it. I haven't read it. It's still taped. So I'm going to open it shortly. But yeah, definitely I'm hearing a lot of good things come of this. So yeah, it's hard to find too. I could only find the one in 4 shops. This is the only one.
Wow. Okay. Nice indie book. You know what, guys? We skipped Chris. That was me because I was so excited to talk Riri Williams here.
I think, yeah, you guys are on your 4th. I've only shown 2 so far, but it's all good.
No, you show your 3rd. That was wrong. That was my bad. I will take full responsibility. Here we go. What do you got?
I was wondering if it might have been my internet again, but all right. I did want to say too, regarding that Riri stuff, that's why context matters. I always say this with the labels, context matters. And once you start taking into consideration all the context, it's not that hard to figure it all out. But
read your books.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I'm kind of cheating on this one because I have 5 books here, but I'm not going to sit and talk about them. The reason why I'm showing off these 5 books is one of my picks, though, is because somebody sent me an AOK, an act of kindness, and included these 5 books. And these 5 books are to be basically paid forward and donated back into the community. So I'm going to be throwing these into some contests in the near future, but I just want to show you guys really quick. This was just an amazing act of kindness. Check these books out. Thor number 5 for 2nd printing. Venom 26, I believe that's Peach Momoko variant.
Yeah.
First appearance of Virus. Venom number 9 variant, first Dylan Brock. This is such a beautiful cover. Venom 29, Delato, limited to 1,500 copies variant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And Thor number 5.
3rd print, yeah. Wow.
3rd print. Guys, now the individual that donated these wanted to remain anonymous, and I did a video just expressing my gratitude. So I had to show these off as one of my picks today because it just speaks to the wonderful community that we are all part of. And you know, I'll be spreading these out among some, you know, future contests and stuff. And I'm just extremely grateful because those are some books right there.
Yep, it's Planet Arizona Comics says, damn that Delato. That is a beautiful thing. Wow. That's an amazing AOK right there. Good on them. So Chris, because in my haste I skipped over you, you're gonna do your 4th one before me.
Okay, so
you're on 4, I'll go 4, then Joel's gonna show his 5th.
Okay. Sounds
Here we
good.
go.
Okay. So for my 4th, all right, this is another key book. I didn't have this on my want list, but I've been eyeing this for a long time. I take responsibility, and I say that kind of playfully because, you know, I know that it's not hard to think about this possible speculation happening in the MCU, but I didn't hear it from anyone before I said it. So in my reality, I said it first when everyone, you know, after rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, after he passed, everyone, I mean, the next day, and I'm like, guys, let the man rest. We don't care about this movie. But literally the next day, people were like making fake Black Panther 2, you know, posters and like Shuri's picking up the mantle and all this. And I'm like, nope, this is what's going to happen. M'Baku is going to take the mantle because, you know, T'Challa's family is going to look to strong leadership. He's going to come in and he's going to be that guy. And he's going to take Shuri's hand in wedlock. And they're eventually going to both don the mantle of the Black Panther at the same time. And he's going to help train and teach her. So I had to get me a Mighty Avengers 62.
Nice.
First appearance of M'Baku, the Man-Ape. And it is a really good. Again, I was really impressed with the price that I got this of. This was a consignment buy from my comic shop. And it is definitely under fair market value of what this book's going for. I mean, this is you know, this is a fine plus looking book right here. And I'm very happy to have gotten this. And I've been sitting on this for a while. And it's been climbing because that spec that I've just been talking about, you know, M'Baku possibly taking the mantle is Black Panther in the MCU is definitely spiked this book some. So,
yo, that is a great book. That is a great pickup. That is a great contribution to Fresh from the Comic Shop. That's awesome. Because you're seeing a lot of those on speculating lists and things like that. But that's a key book, right?
Right. Yep.
So anyway, because he's now even more prominent because of the first film. Anyways, all right.
Yep.
So guys, for my fourth book I'm going to share, it's actually kind of a collection because we were talking about a certain artist last week, Chris and I, and we have much appreciation for this guy. And I think he's got so many covers coming out these days that we all take him for granted, and he is an absolute gem. His name is Alex Ross, and I saw these timeless variants were on sale, so I just got a few of them just on a whim. So these are the Alex Ross timeless variants. I got the Thing here. I got Spider-Woman. And I got Medusa. These are just beautiful looking books. As you guys all know, Alex Ross is just an absolute master. And like, God, look at just the detail on the Thing here. It's just, it blows my mind. These covers, I don't think these are any kind of spec covers, to be honest with you. They overprinted them, but they are just gorgeous. And I pick them up on the cheap anytime I can. I got these for less than cover price, and I was very happy to do so to add them to my collection. So that is my fourth entry. Now we got Joel's fifth. I'm wondering if he did his best for last. Let's see. He has some pretty good books. Let's go. What do you got?
Again, guys, just because we're in lockdown and postal office up here takes forever. I wish I could have had the different books up, but I'm going Riri Williams here. This is a book.
Okay.
This is a book just kind of like Chris. I kind of talked about. Everybody was like, "NEWBIE, I think it's just you. You are crazy. Please shut up." And I was like, "Okay, no worries." There was one other person talking about this book, and that's Manny the Collector. A really nice guy. Really one of the guys I really appreciate. It is Ironheart number 9. This book did not get any heat until I'll say it. I said it, and then it ended up on platforms. I'll say it. This is the first appearance of Riri Williams and Shuri. Sorry. This book, spec-wise, who knows? I think they'll eventually meet down the road. When down the road is, I don't know. But again, definitely a book that's very slept on. You can find it really cheap. So definitely a book I would be on the lookout for sure.
Yep. Again.
I want to say something to that. Let's put spec aside real quick. I just think there's a lot, and I know we have a large population of collectors that are just negative about anything new.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. There's the last 10 years or so of new comics have been tumultuous for many different reasons. Some that I can get behind and understand, some that I'm just like, you guys are just toxic and ridiculous, right? But I really feel, and maybe this has to do with the fact of, Feige coming on board to oversee the comic book side of Marvel. But I'm looking at that book right there, and I'm saying, I don't care if this book has spec value. This is a book that we're going to look at 20 years from now, and I think really cherish in just value in and of itself. And a lot of that has to do with the MCU and everything. And I'm not trying to compare it to the Silver Age and like the first meeting of, Fantastic Four or Spider or Daredevil and Kingpin. That's a good first meeting. That is now iconic. Obviously I'm not comparing it to that, but I do believe that there's a lot of characters and story arcs within these characters showing up right now that are really going to be just iconic in themselves, because I really think that we are in a beginning stage where we're going to look back at right around 2000 to say that's when modern comics really, at least for Marvel, really started getting some things right. I really feel that way because, and I'll end it on this, because I really feel that they're realizing, because the last 10 years, we had comic books looking at the movie successes and then regurgitating everything that was done in the movie. And now we're going back to getting these new, fresh characters, these new generation of characters, and creating new storylines within the comics. And then maybe 10 and 20 years later, whatever, we're going to see them in the MCU. And I think there's going to be a lot more appreciation for things like this type of team up, than maybe what we saw in modern books over the last decade or so.
I think, and if I can just make one quick note, I totally agree with what you're saying, man. Absolutely. I think the team meetings in a lot of characters, and I've talked about it with Spider-Man, Daredevil, and things like that. They're slept on. Like, I don't think people like understand the value in the book. I mean, yeah, you just get it to read and have, but I mean, there is value in those. I think, you know, when I first started collecting, 2012, 2013, I mean, you know, people only collected like origin and first appearance, you know? So like, even just in a short period, it's changed. Like, I don't even know how many times it's changed now where, you know, like we had the cover, then first app, and then first app, second app. And now it's, you know, it's just crazy. But yeah, I think people sleep on these team appearances, man.
Yep.
Definitely.
I definitely.
And for
agree.
me, like, again, like I grew up with a brother. I had no conception of empowering women or anything like that. But now that I have a daughter, I'm looking for powerful women, right? And something like that, like just that book right there kind of embodies that. And those are the things that I'm sharing with my daughter. And she's
I got 5 sisters, so yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So you had a better understanding growing up than I ever did. And now
Yeah.
I don't want my daughter to ever think she can't do anything.
Exactly.
I want her to be surrounded by powerful characters, right? And like trying to buy stuff for the holidays, it can be a challenge trying to find like powerful woman toy. You have Captain Marvel who's out there now, and I'm very grateful for that. You have Princess Leia, you have Rey, but it kind of like she's into these characters she sees on the TV, and you can't find those toys anywhere, and it just gets really frustrating. But these stories right here, Chris and Joel, that you guys point out, it goes beyond, again, Chris, like you said, it goes beyond spec. It makes a statement. So, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, this is your last book fresh from the comic book shop. What do you got?
I got a slab.
Ooh, this is the first slab we got fresh from the comic book shop, I think.
Ooh. Yeah, right. I think so. Yep. All right, guys. This book, again, this was a gift to me. And A-OK that just blew my mind. And again, same individual that, you know, wants to remain anonymous, and friend of the show, friend of Journo's channel as well. And just, you should have seen the video I did unboxing this, and I was just at a loss for words. And I don't want to repeat it right now, and I don't want to take 20 minutes of our show tonight saying how appreciative I am, but I truly am, because this blew my mind, especially when I saw the grade. Eternals #1 in a 9.4 white pages.
Like, get out of here.
Blown away. I mean, again, I'm at a loss for words. The kindness and compassion of folks in this community just blows me away, and it continues to push me to be a better human being.
That's incredible.
I cherish all of you.
That is absolutely incredible.
9.4 Eternals #1. CGC white. Like I said, white pages. It is a beauty.
Chris, I just want to quote one movie. Did we just become that?
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh,
that's awesome.
That movie is so underrated.
Let's show them at the same time. Pull yours up. We're not like, it's not a magic trick here. Look at that.
Yeah,
you guys.
White pages too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Look at that. That's awesome, man.
I personally think that this is going to be big. I think right now, it's not talked about. It's slept on. I would be picking them up. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'll agree with you there. Planet Arizona had to give me a nudge here. Come on, Jeff. Where's yours? Your 9.4. Yeah. I think now is the time to buy. The delay has only helped people who are looking for this at a lower price, because it's not going to get lower now than it is now, guys. No. There's a little bit more time for that lull, because that trailer is going to be coming out soon. This movie's coming out in 10 months. So.
Now, and real quick, I don't want to take too much time, but I'm hearing Super Bowl as a possible.
Oh, that'd be a good call. We're 8 days away, 9 days away. So, yeah, good. That would be amazing. Actually, I hope about that.
It's a rumor I'm hearing. Don't quote me. The day after the Super Bowl, I don't want people being like, man, NEWBIE, what the hell?
Everybody, Joel from NEWBIE Comics made the call. He has confirmed He has confirmed that the
man.
Turtles trial will be played during Super Bowl. Somebody's going to cut that out right there and play that back. All right, guys. I feel like who went on after Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock? Because right now this is going to be really underwhelming. But thanks, appreciate that. All right, guys. So we all love WandaVision. It's a great series. Again, I like going dollar bin digging. This was a great find right here. I absolutely love John Byrne. He's got to be my favorite artist. He's the first artist I noticed when I was like, oh, these artists are different. Oh, I get it now when reading comics. And I'm like, I really love this guy. And this kind of relates to what's happening in WandaVision. They're going, well, I don't know. Who knows where they're going to go. But this is West Coast Avengers number 44. This is the dismantling of the Vision here before he gets his kind of like white suit and he becomes like a true kind of android robot without any kind of soul. So I had to pick this up. It's $1. Who knows which way they're going to go with the show. But guys, oh my gosh, I don't know what your thoughts are on John Byrne, but I freaking love John Byrne. So that is my 5th pick right there, guys. That is my 5th pickup from Fresh from the Comic Shop. Any parting words from this segment right here?
I just want to say that is not underwhelming because I'm with you. There's a lot going on in the West Coast Avengers run in the between the 40s and 60s that is seemingly going to play some type of role in multiple, Disney Plus series or films. So, this is a run that I didn't really collect. I had a few issues as a kid that I've been picking up a lot because I think there's a lot there. I definitely do.
Yeah.
So.
I think the first appearance of West Coast Avengers, I've been talking about it on my show for a while. I usually don't preach things that I don't pick up. I would advise people to pick it up, especially again talking Iron Man, but that Armored War stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
It could have a future there. I think a lot of people are looking somewhere else in that, and I think they should be looking this direction, I guess. But yeah, you can find that book super cheap too.
Yep, absolutely. These are all pickups. Those mid '80s Vision runs, may as well pick them up now, guys. Now here's the deal. We had so much engagement going on in the chat. I see members trying to help out another member with advice and all that, and it's going to take forever to go through what you guys actually picked up. So there's been a lot of talk going in the chat. So let's see if I can find something real quick here in terms of anybody. Dan De La Torre got a Tales to Astonish 92 raw copy with a true cameo appearance of the Silver Surfer. That's not a bad pickup. What else do we got? What else? Who do we got? Man, you guys. Planet Arizona Comics. I got a mail call for the Frankie's Comics exclusive Peach Momoko cover for Amazing Spider-Man 56. I am not familiar with that cover, I have to say. Who else? You guys did an amazing job. And we really appreciate you guys. You guys got to start. We got to start asking this for on Instagram during the week, and you guys send us pictures so we can post them for you. But I'm not seeing any more here. Hold on. P. Keel bought a Star Wars #1 CG 69.6 8 years ago, and it came back. Okay, anyway,
that's another segment right there. You press it. Wait a minute. You bought a 9.8 and pressed it. Why would you press the 9.8?
I don't think he said he pressed the 9.6 and got instead of back and got it back as a 9.6. That's terrible.
Oh, I thought the same as Chris. I was like, oh
no, that's 9.6 from 8 years ago. You guys, it looks like it because it's got the 8 right next to it.
It came back a 9.6.
No, it says bought a Star Wars 1 CGC 9.6 8 years ago.
Oh,
8 years ago. Yeah. Anyways,
man. Okay, I'm like, what?
That's
it's still not a win. Yeah. Anyways, that is Fresh from the Comic Shop, guys. We're gonna have another Fresh from the Comic Shop next week to share our new pickups. Really great to have Joel on here sharing his. But right now, guys, is the time where we get into some history. Right? We have Tom Tormey each and every week sharing his juicy nuggets of comic book history. Check him out on Instagram at Comic Cosmic History. Please follow him, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time. He will post up just this fantastic little tidbit of information on Instagram that you probably didn't even know about. And each and every time you learn something. That's how I feel. It's one of the first things one of the first accounts I look at each and every week. But we are fortunate enough to have Tom share with us a special segment on comic book canon called the Cosmic Minute. This one, guys, this one is about the Human Torch. Check it out.
Hi everyone, I'm Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and this is your Cosmic Minute. And today we're talking about why Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, didn't appear in the 1978 Fantastic Four animated series. Fantastic Four fans were furious when they found out that fan favorite Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, had been replaced by a lovable little robot named Herbie. You've probably heard this urban legend 1,000 times, that the Human Torch was cut from the cartoon out of fears that children would be setting themselves on fire. In reality, the Human Torch didn't appear because Johnny was scheduled to get the same treatment as the Incredible Hulk, a live-action series. Between Johnny's omission and Herbie's inclusion, the new Fantastic Four series didn't last very long. Or is it the Fantastic Three? A few years later, that urban legend actually made its way into the comic books. In 1985's Fantastic Four number 285, a little boy sets himself on fire to try and emulate the Human Torch. But don't worry, little Tommy's okay. I'm still Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and that was your Cosmic Minute. Until next week, be well and stay safe.
I had no idea. I heard about that the reason that they got rid of it in that cartoon was because they thought kids would light themselves on fire, and that brought us a little Herbie, right? This is my daughter's little Herbie.
That's awesome.
Funko Pop.
Fantastic Four, what, 209, I think? If I'm not mistaken, that's his first appearance, too.
Herbie? Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's a good call. I don't even know when he appears in continuity, but that was the whole reason. But guys, I really thought that was true, and I had no idea about that until Tom sent this segment on over to us that wasn't the case. But I find it interesting that back in the 70s when the Hulk was around, that they were looking to do a live-action Human Torch show. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I wonder how they would have done that. Like, just
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
That would have been some horrible special effects. Like, horrible. Like, probably back in the day, people were like, oh, man, you see that Human Torch show? It looks like it's on fire. Anyways, but that, again, another thing I learned from Tom Tormey, the guy is just, he knows his comic book history. We will have another segment, Cosmic Minute, next week with Tom dishing out some juicy goodness. But again, guys, please follow him on Instagram. You will learn each and every day. He packages it well and gives a little tidbit, little information on the bottom in the comments. So please follow him. All right, guys. So it's now time for Kid Collector's favorite segment, right? Kid Collector's favorite segment. That's right. Fresh. Nope, it's not fresh from the comic shop. Let me take it back 1 second.
I was going to say, wait, what?
Top 10 hottest comic books of the week based off of Cover Price's data. That's right. Cover Price releases a top 10 list each and every week on a Monday. Our shows are live every Friday. We like to dive into this list, take a look at the top 10 really quickly, but then Chris gives his top 3 most interesting picks from each week. Dives in and gives the reasons why. What's up?
And let me interrupt you real quick, Jeff. And I'm telling you guys, this is what I hope everyone is sticking around, because I'm telling you, we're going to get into this like we never have before on Comic Book Canon. Go ahead.
Okay. You heard it here. And we got Joel here to add a little flavor as well. So, all right. Each and every week, Chris will dish out his top 3 most interesting picks out of this top 10 list. So guys, let's just get into it, shall we? Like top 10 right now. How about it? Here we go. All right. At number 10, we have Star Wars, Canon the Last Padawan, number 1. Number 9, we have Captain America, number 25. We already discussed that book. We know why. Sam Wilson becomes Captain America in that issue. Haha, number 1 from Image. This one is an interesting one. Creepy clowns. At number 7, we have Star Wars, The High Republic. Number 1, the Stephanie Hans variant. That seems to be the cover of choice for people. However, it's bumped down to number 7. It was, top 5 the last few weeks. At number 6, we have Avengers number 1, Marvel 2010. That is the John Romita Jr. I'm not sure who the writer was on that. At number 5, we have Star Wars, The High Republic number 1, the A cover. Number 4, we have Future State Teen Titans number 1. At number 3, we have Star Wars, Dr. Aphra number 7. At number 2, we have Slingers number 0. And at number 1, we have Star Wars Dr. Aphra. Number 7, the Jenny Frison variant, the 1 in 25. This one was hot, and really hard to find. So, guys, an interesting list this week. We got some DC. We got another DC book. Actually, that DC book was number 1 last week, the Teen Titans, and an Image book. But Chris, you got some words about what's going on this week with this this top 10 list.
It's crazy, and this is what I love about this. You look at your standard top 10s, and and I'm not knocking it. This is just you look for, why are they hot? What are they selling for? How many? What's the speculation around them? This is so unique, and that I like to pick books for other reasons. I need to get me some water in before I go on because I'm going to be talking a lot here.
Everybody, I hope you're all sitting down.
I'm ready to go. Number 3, Slingers number 0. All right, you guys, sit down at your desk and chair. Class is in session because there's a lot to take in, so take your notes. Slingers number 0. This is a Wizard exclusive that was a free book. Do we call this a previews? Question mark, and hold that thought. All right, this is what's going on with this book and why it's been hot. Unconfirmed rumors of a Sony property involving the character Dusk, reported by Screen Rant from source Illuminati. Now, again, rumor here. We got Screen Rant, which is a solid source, and Illuminati seems to be one of those rumor sources that you kind of think that could be some validity there, right? So that's what I'm going to say about that. Now, this was a Wizard preview, so to say, but it was a free solicitation that contains issue 0 of the character Dusk, who first appeared in Peter Parker Spider-Man number 91, but as Spider-Man. Basically, Peter Parker wore the suit of Dusk and took on the mantle because during the Identity Crisis storyline, Peter Parker was accused of murdering some nickel and dimer named Joey Z, right? And he was framed by Norman Osborn, none other than Norman Osborn, right? So Peter took on the identity of a few different characters so he wouldn't be, made by the authorities and whatnot. Dusk was one of them. But Dusk is merely a suit. There is the Dusk suit came from the Negative Zone. It was basically a mantle that a lot of different heroes wore. So it was passed to Peter Parker. He wore it for the reasons I just stated. And then Peter Parker passed it on, and it ended up in the hands of a woman named Cassie St. Commons, who is the Dusk that shows up in this book, Slingers number 0. All right, check this out. We're just going to do a little statistics here. This book had a high raw sold for $35 this week, guys. So there's something to argue about here because the next appearance is in Slingers number 1, right? Which is a standard issued publication that you paid cover price for. All right, that was hitting your new comic book day shelves. Is this comic book a previews, or is it actually a publication that is considered a comic, even though it was free? I think that's where, because we have a lot, we have the Marvel's previews 95 with Miles Morales and all the hype around that. And here's what I say. People can value what they want to value. And if they want to pay thousands of dollars because a character showed up in an ad or a previews in some other book or throwaway magazine that's merely a solicitation or an advertisement, that's fine. But calling it the first appearance is wrong. It's the first time that they appear, but we have to add the proper context in advertisement, in preview solicitation, but it's not a first appearance in continuity. It's not first appearance in comic book. This one, though, is like, what is it? Is it a previews or is it a comic book? So it just makes this one really interesting. There's already so much crazy history around this character, but it is, I was reading about the possible Sony property. It does look like, if there's any truth to it, it would be the Cassie St. Commons character. And it is something that I think would make for a really awesome story if done right. So look, at the end of the day, I'm going to say this. Because it's in issue 0, that actually has a story that actually continues in issue number 1, even though it was free, I'm going to call it a first appearance. And why? Look at Free Comic Book Day books. Look at that whole issue with Virus. Look, you know, we know that it's a free book, but it is, and he has it right there. Yes. So,
I've got many, man. I've got a lot. I've got a lot.
It's cold up in
I'm gonna
Canada,
make a
right? You can
stand.
use that for your fireplace or something.
Oh, man. I'm going to make a stand here and say I am going to consider this a comic book publication. So therefore, I'm going to hop on the train of calling this Dusk as Cassie St. comments first appearance.
Yeah. Chris, I think
that's enough, right?
And I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but just going back to a comment I made about, I forget what book, but, you know, just talking about the different ways people collect and like what's hot. I think it's funny how in the last 6 months to 8 months, this whole previews thing, right? It's just, it's taken up. Like, you know, I remember like, you know, it happened with Virus, it happened with Firepower, it happened. There were so many titles in 2020 that had happened that people were just getting sick. And then for whatever reason, I think it was like September, October, people were like, no, these are in now. This is hot. And it's just like, then we get issues like we just got with that Miles book, and it's kind of, you know, it feels like it's ending, but, you know, some people still collect that way and believe previews are the thing. So, yeah.
I don't know. To go to your point, though, Joel, it's the Firepower issue, the Spider-Man Virus issue. Those were stories. Yeah. The Miles one, what is it? Preview Marvel 95 or whatever it is. That's insane. Yeah. That's going for thousands of dollars. Like, are you serious? That's insane. And I don't understand that, and I don't know if that's going to last.
Yeah. Do you guys know the Journal? A lot of people, and I'm a Venom guy, pre this virus, and, you know, I know now you say, yeah, you're a Venom fan, and people are like, yeah, obviously. And you guys remember, I think it's like 168. I could be wrong on the number, but it's that journal, that comic journal. And it's supposedly, you know, the people that have it, that's the first appearance of Venom. And why? Well, it's because it's got like a little ad of just a black Spider-Man suit. And people are like, no, that's the book. That's the book. And it's like, well, like, no, I mean, the black suit is there, but is it in a story? Is it a comic?
Yeah. And look, we're really talking about two different things here. We're talking about what we want to value as collectors, and we're talking about labels. Two different things. And that's the problem. People don't want to separate those two things. Like I said, look, man, I mean, I can value, dude, I can value, say it's like 30 years from now, and this is a retro controller from Xbox, I can value it. If I want it so bad, I can pay hundreds of dollars for it. Yeah. I mean, I can value a couch cushion, you know, like, seriously, like, I can find value in a couch cushion if I wanted to, for some reason, wanted to collect it so bad, I could pay hundreds and thousands of dollars for a couch cushion. So I have no problem with people valuing anything. I mean, Beanie Babies were valued once upon a time, right? So my thing is, if people want to value a previews book or a Daredevil 115 because it has a little ad of Wolverine's first appearance, that's fine. But you can't change the context of the labels. Yeah. But I think going back to the fun thing about this book, though, is it's kind of, you know, it's not, it is like you were saying, Jeff, it's actually a comic book. It's a story that is a comic book. Yeah. It's not just an ad or a one-page preview of something to come.
No, definitely. And we could devote a whole segment to this, but I think that's the important thing. If there's a story there, there's something there. Perfect example, again, is the Firepower or the Spider-Man Free Comic Book Day, both of those free comic book days. So anyways, all right, moving on, Chris, you got another book that you would like to talk about. This is your second book out of the top 10. What do you got?
Yeah. My number 2 pick is, this is really a lot of fun for me to talk about this because I'm all for the Star Wars mania, and that's Dr. Aphra number 7. I mean, we had the standard cover and we had the variant cover, you know, which hit number 1. But I mean, just talking about the book in general, looking at the numbers of the standard cover, it had a high raw online of $15 the week it released. And here's the thing: there's no spec on this book specifically, but the character is hot because we're specking that we're going to see this character in live action in some way, you know, Disney Plus or something, right? Just because of everything going on with Star Wars. I love that. I absolutely love that. It means that people are just buying into Star Wars. We've talked about that in weeks past. But here's a really interesting thing that I think maybe a lot of collectors don't pay attention to. And that's that, you know, retailers, and I actually talked about this on my show today. Retailers have to fulfill their order months in advance. And sometimes they can't gauge when a book is going to get hot necessarily, whether it's because of spec value or because somebody's enjoying the story, or there's just so much Star Wars love right now and more people start buying it. So that shows other things that can drive fair market value other than speculation, right? And like I said, there's a bit of speculation, but I think people are just wanting to pick up Dr. Aphra. And if they can't find it at their LCS, they're willing to go on eBay or online on the secondary market and pay $10, $15, $20 for books like these. But this brings me to a point that I wanted to bring up surrounding these types of situations. Why are people not utilizing pull lists or purchasing via pre-order and previews rather than resorting to the second market where they are willing to pay a higher premium, right? So to me, I go back to those collectors that get fickle, right? About, oh, you know, everyone's speculating on this book and I didn't have it in my pull list and I didn't buy it via previews, but I went to the store and wanted to buy it because now it's hot. There's two things going on here. There's the opportunity that you could have had of putting it on your pull list or your previews order. And then there are those people that accept the fact that they didn't do that. And they're willing to pay a premium after the fact. And I want to say, I dig those collectors. For a collector that can admit that they probably weren't into Star Wars before the hype, they probably weren't into Dr. Aphra until there was some speculation that she might show up on a Disney Plus show. They're willing to admit that and willing to say, I never had Star Wars on my previews list, but guess what? I missed the ability to do a previews order, put on my pull list. So, hey, I'm going to go on eBay and I'm going to pay $15 for it.
That's me. Like, honestly, man, and I've been enjoying it. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I've always loved Star Wars, right? I have always loved Star Wars ever since I was a little kid. I've never collected the Star Wars comic books up until now. Like, this new Darth Vader series is fantastic. It's fantastic. So I am one of those people, and I've paid a premium for that. But if you've already known about it and you don't have it in your pull list, that's on you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get sick of this conversation. It's just all these people want, you know, bitching and whining about, oh, I missed out because of all these speculators. Well, you know, you have the exact same information or access to the information that they do. You have no excuse.
Yeah, I think it's funny because people will watch like FOC shows, right? And then it's like, yeah, you guys should order this, and then it comes to it, and I see the exact same people being like, oh man, I missed that, and I just want to be like, man, you were on the FOC show. They told you to go. Like what do you mean?
No excuse.
Like it's everywhere. You know what I mean? That's the thing that I don't understand. Like same with you know, perfect example. I will always admit, you know, I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy, but that second print of High Republic, like you knew it was coming. You
knew it was coming out. Yeah.
No, I missed it. Oh no, and they're willing to pay, man. Like I sold a copy for $30 Canadian, and
you made your money back.
You know, and that was it. That was the money that I spent on the books for this week. You know, so yeah, got to take advantage of the pull list, man.
Yeah, and that's the best way to do it. Is like have your hobby pay for itself too. And if you're not taking advantage of anything, you're just a passionate collector. Why not have it pay for itself? Because you have the knowledge and you're using it.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is another topic we could take all show to discuss, but we don't have time for that because we are going to get to the number one most interesting book that Chris found on this top 10 list. Chris, go for it.
All right, you know, and I told you guys, see, each one of these very, very, unique topics that I told you we were going to dive into, but none is big as this one, guys. This book has so much. And it's almost like on the flip side of what we just talked about with Star Wars. But let's bring up the book and let's talk about it. This is going to get controversial. My number one pick, guys, is Avengers #1 from 2010. And Jeff, I do believe that's Brian Michael Bendis. You were asking earlier.
It's Ramito and Bendis. Yeah, Ramito and Bendis.
So this book is the first appearance of Azari, son of T'Challa in Storm. This book got hot just this last week. And the reason why blows my mind. All right. Now, I really, guys, I want you to listen to this and I want you to take it all in. I want you to take this all in. I first want to state this. I am absolutely not a hater of speculation. I love it. Even though I don't flip books, I'm not mad at flippers. It's part of the hobby. I'm a businessman. I respect the business at all levels, right? But I'm telling you guys, the reason why this book is hot blows my mind. Let's go into it. First appearance of Azari, son of T'Challa in Storm, like I said. This book got hot because of quote-unquote unconfirmed rumors. All right? Check this out. I believe we have an image, Jeff, that we can bring up on screen here.
We do indeed.
All right. This image is the listing of this book on your favorite app, Key Collector Comics. Now, let me add a little context. I'm not a hater of Key Collector Comics, but I have issues with some of the things that they do, but I want them to succeed. I never am here to blackball anyone. I don't buy into conspiracy theories. This is not about conspiracy theories, so don't get it twisted. This is about this one incident and this one incident only. All right? This says nothing else but that. But let's look at what this book says here. It gives them the details. Maria Hill joins the Avengers, yada, yada, yada. First cameo team appearance of the next Avengers. And it says that it's the first appearance of the son of T'Challa in Storm. But look what it also says, guys. It says January 2021. Speculation from Jim Comics that Azari could take up the mantle of T'Challa in Black Panther 2. All right. Let me repeat that, guys. Speculation from Jim Comics says that Azari could take up the mantle of T'Challa in Black Panther Black Panther 2. Let me tell you why this blows my mind, guys. Jim Comics, he's a YouTuber, for those that don't know. He has about 10,000 subscribers. That's great. I'm subscribed to Jim Comics, and if Jim ever sees this or he's watching, I appreciate you, Jim. This is not against you. I appreciate what you do. Jim is actually, I watch his videos. He's a really nice guy. He just seems like a totally nice guy. I think he might be a fellow Canadian newbie.
Okay.
And you know, most Canadians are just really nice people. And he's got a following. You know, he does like one video a week where he goes over his pickups and he talks about why he picked them up and why books might get hot. I watched this video. I watched the video that he did. All right. He did the video on January 17th where he said, you know, I picked up this book. He actually didn't even pick up Avengers #1. He picked up Avengers #6, which is the first full appearance of Azari. But he talked about why he thought, hey, you know, who knows? They could bring him into, you know, Black Panther 2 and have a pick up the mantle. I don't know. It's something that they could do. There's so many options that they could do. And he was just a collector doing his thing on YouTube, saying what he could say about what he thinks can happen. Let me tell you guys something. I do that a lot myself. I talked about Astonishing Tales #6, the first time Dr. Doom meets Black Panther. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking at this book because this might happen in the MCU. Do you know if Key Collector app like watched my video and then went into his listing of Astonishing Tales #6 and said, rumor from Journo's Comics that Dr. Doom could show up in Black Panther 2, and that book boomed. Look, I mean, like, to some degree, I would feel honored, maybe, like, well, thanks for acknowledging my opinion, but no, who am I? Dude, I'm nobody. I'm a YouTuber. I don't know shit. I'm just enjoying what I love, and I'm like, hey, this might happen. I'm sure Jim Comics feels the same way. Why do I care what he says? This is let me explain to you. Let me tone it down, guys. Let me explain to you why this is a problem. Look at what happened. Look at what happened. Jim Comics did this video on January 17th. This is a book that if you go through the online sales, this book sold maybe a few books every month for $2 or $3, right? Cover price, whatever. On January 7th, after Jim Comics uploaded that video and said, hey, I bought the book, if you can find it for cheap. I do that all the time. On January 17th, there was 12 sales of this book. They all sold for around cover price. $2, $3, $4 maybe. So what does that show you? It shows that Jim Comics has a following. He got like 5,000 views on that video. And it shows that, hey, Jim Comics is talking about it. That's a cool idea. Why not? Perfectly fine. They're paying $2, $3, $4 for a book. Okay. January 18th and 19th happened. All right. 18 books sold in for around cover price. Now, I don't know when Key Collector put this information on their app, but I'm going to assume that it was probably either midday or late January 19th, because at the end of day January 19th and into January 20th, when January 20th hit, this book started selling for $20+, hitting a high raw, and these are all raw, by the way, hitting a high raw sale of $58 the next day on January 21st. Okay? So let me explain to you why this is a problem, but not the problem that you may think. I'm not sitting here and saying that people paying this type of money is bad. I'm not even sitting here saying that people, it goes to show one thing, guys. One thing it goes to show is the power of Key Collector. And remember I say, ironically, cliche, with great power comes great responsibility. It shows the power of Key Collector. Let's look at what I just said. Jim Comics as a YouTuber has power, right? Because you can correlate. There's a correlation between the amount of sales once Jim Comics started talking about that. But you know what else happened? The value of the book didn't really go anywhere. But when Key Collector app stated it, what happened to the value of the book? It shot up like sixfold to even more than that with the 58 high. What does that show you? It shows you that people, and this isn't Key Collector's fault. Don't get it twisted. This is not Key Collector's fault. They're just running a business. But it goes to show you that collectors that use Key Collector will cling to everything they say, almost like as a cultism, almost like they're a cult. They follow everything they say so much that they will disregard the fact that this book is selling for $3 or $4 and they'll pay $20 for it. That's not manipulating the market. It's not. It's natural. It's from people like gambling, having a gambling addiction, and they're not even thinking about their actions. It's reactionary. And it changes the fair market value of books on the market. It's not bloated. It's not false. It's not manipulation. It's real. It's natural. It's organic still. But I'm giving you the variables of how and why it's happening. That's not Key Collector's fault. It's the collector's fault. It's the people buying these books at these prices' fault. And you can't blame anyone. It's a free market. But let me tell you where I have a problem with Key Collector. And it goes back to the fact that they took a and it's not even Comic Tom. If it was Comic Tom, maybe it would still though. But here's the thing. People give Comic Tom so much crap, but he reports the news after the fact. After it's on Key Collector or after. Jim Comics is a YouTuber with 10,000 subscribers that is just telling you why he picked it up and why he thinks it might show up in the MCU. And a powerful app, powerful business like Key Collector uses that as a citation. That is bad business. Because Jeff, I'm gonna bring you in here. We don't report on rumors unless we have some kind of feasible, credible source. I mean, look, I think that, look, we've been doing the show since how many episodes? Almost 40 episodes. There may have been twice where we talked about something that wasn't officially confirmed, but if we talked about it, it was from at least an insider that is usually accurate, like Mikey Sutton.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, you know, in journalism, you want two sources to be able to go forward with anything, right?
Right,
So
right.
we don't like to talk and speculate and all that in terms of any kind of news. And this is, yeah, go ahead.
Right. So you get an app like Key Collector that is having the power of a database and is bringing in some random guys. Oh yeah, you know, he may show up. You know, my freaking right foot might show up in the MCU, and the Key Collector's gonna put that in. Like, come on!
I mean, it's really bad. That's really bad.
That's bad. That's bad. And like I said, this isn't. And look, I did realize that. I think they have a sponsorship. Like, there's a Jim Comics code, so maybe Key Collector's thinking that they're scratching his back. I'm telling you right now, Key Collector, Nick, this is the thing. If you're watching this, anybody that's affiliates, I respect all you guys. Comic Tom, I respect you. Jim, I respect you. Russ, I have much respect for you. Somebody's got to talk to Nick because I care about Nick and I care about his business. I do. I want Key Collector app to succeed. I want us to be able to trust it. I want us all to be able to utilize it. This is bad business. It's bad. And I just got to say that. I'll end it on this. Key Collector should not be citing any type of speculative sources unless it is confirmed source. Period.
Yeah, I agree.
Or I'll say one more thing.
Go for it.
If there's a popular opinion in a hobby and they cite it as such, that's fine too. Like, I remember them saying about the Black Winter, they said it wasn't them driving it. They said the Silver Surfer Black Book. This book has gotten hot because there was talk that collectors might think that it's a cameo of Black Winter, even though the author and the artist denied it. So, like, that's kind of riding a fine line, but at least they're citing it like, you know, is such, but they are giving a YouTuber the power of a credible source, and it isn't that whatsoever.
Yeah, agreed. That's well laid out, and 100% it's all valid. And I have to highlight this as the comment of the night from Swaggle House Comics and Games. Jim's Comics is the Reddit Wall Street bets of comic spec, but in all seriousness, it does bring up a question of what Key Collector actually is. Is it a spec blog app or is it a comic news app? And that's a good point. But no matter what, it holds that kind of weight and it kind of affects the market with things like this. This is just ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Joel, I want your kind of input on this as well.
You know, I've kind of had my things with Nick. I think I've been vocal. I don't subscribe to the app. I find other ways, you know, reading books and things like that. I'm more old school anyway, so the Silver Age and Bronze, I kind of know what I'm looking for and things. With Nick, yeah, like that last comment you brought up. I mean, it's important to know what it actually is. Is it a blog or is it a comic news? I mean, I've sent Nick a few specs and a few things that he didn't have on the app, and I said, hey man, you know, this stuff's up there. And he just said, no man, it's not worthy of it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. You know, he shot me down. So I've been posting my things. The Venom stuff, he didn't put it up. Didn't get credit. We weren't looking for credit, but you know, just one of those things. You know, there's been a bunch of secret variants, a bunch of news, a bunch of books that he doesn't have on there, and we were just trying to, you know, inform the community of like, hey, these books are out there, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm with Chris, to be honest with you. He knows how I feel. We talked about this backstage a few times when he was on my show. We talked about it. Yeah. Some people love that app. I just think that there should be some responsibility as well when the wrong information is out there. I think if people are paying to it and you're putting information out there, I think it's your responsibility to say, hey, guys, you know what? My bad. My bad. That is not right. I'll erase it. I'll whatever. And that's the issue I have with it personally.
I want some context here too, because I want everyone watching to ponder this as well. Think about this. Think about this happening. What's the chances of this happening? How can, first off, now, and I want to relate back to Wanda's and Vision's kids of how they can actually bring them in because there's magic there and there's all these things there. But that's not, this is Black Panther. We know T'Challa's gone. We know that T'Challa had a love interest that was not Storm. Storm is not there. So are they really going to bring a love child? Like they're going to, like, is it a love child that they already kind of did? Like there was already this distant relative that nobody knew about, right?
Yeah.
Killmonger. So what are they going to bring in, a son that like T'Challa didn't know about that was Storm's child and then make him take the, like, honestly, at Jim Comics, look, hey, I would like to have that book just because maybe later, 20 years down the line, it might work. There's really no feasibility in them working this in unless it was an alternate dimension from the multiverse where T'Challa is still alive. But look, they're not recasting Chadwick Boseman, so there can't be T'Challa in an alternate universe because he's not going to exist in the MCU. It makes, so if I was Nick or Key Collector and I'm looking at this as like, are you not thinking about these things before you put it on your app? It blows my mind. Newbie. I'm sorry. I want to go to your point too. Go Collect. Go Collect does a good job of being, they're more than one thing. They're a database.
Yeah.
And they also have a blog source. And in their blog source, they have a lot of employees and authors and freelance authors that talk up speculation. But it is not labeled on the books in their database. Now, Key Collector either has to figure out if they're a database, because if you go to their, I got it up right here. You guys can see, what's it say? What's it say when you go to their website? Like the best database for the world's most comprehensive database and price guide. Okay. They are declaring themselves as a database. If that's the case, then they cannot, this can't happen. If you want to be what were some of the terms you guys just called it? If you want to be a speculation source, call it that. Because a database is one thing. Data.
Yeah.
Raw, factual data. This is not raw data. This is just freaking, like I said, this is my right foot and people getting excited of it just because Key Collector said it to be so. And again, it bothers me that this is somebody that they have some type of sponsorship with. And again, I'm not I'm leaving it at that. I don't buy into the conspiracy theories. But I'm not mad at people thinking that there are conspiracy theories when stuff like this happens. Like, what else are we supposed to think? Why are we doing this? Why are we hyping this book up? And again, is it just to scratch Jim Comics' back? Or is it for other reasons? Or is it simply because Nick or whoever's running Key Collector is such a geeked out collector that he's a bad businessman because he can't differentiate when he wants to geek out on something or he wants to be a businessman. Because if it's just Nick geeking out as watching Jim Comics, being a fan, and he wants to bring it over to his app, he can't do that. He cannot do that.
I don't think I can't. Here's the thing. I think Key Collector is good for the industry as a whole. I do. I think it's good for our hobby, right? But I see your point. There's a gray area. It's not, what is it? But at the same time, no matter what it is or isn't, it holds weight in the actions that they take, right? And the actions Nick or that app or whoever else is running that app, their actions take weight. And there is an effect to any actions that they do make. And I don't know if it's that they're ignorant to that or they don't care, but it's one of the two. It's one of the two. And I would love to know what that is. Because, Chris, you've called him out many times and have gotten an unacceptable response on the Punisher's second appearance. Right?
I do want to make it known, right? And this is about specifics, about labels, and my issues with some of the labels. I reached out to him.
Newbie talks the same thing. He said the same thing. That I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Well, he responded to me once, and I appreciated that because I'm nobody. He doesn't need to respond to me, but he did. And I felt like it was more like excuses of why. And I responded back asking him questions because I wanted to know, like you just said, is it because of this or this? It's one of the two. I want to know why. I want to understand the business. And he never responded. But he answered the questions in a roundabout way on a Instagram post trying to get his followers, I'm assuming, to buy into why he's doing what he's doing. And look, here's again, this is my, I did a live stream talking about my issues, but wanting to clarify that I'm not in the screw Comic Tom and Nick. I'm not on that bus. So I did a live stream clearing that air. I said, this is not being toxic. I'm not with this toxic crowd that just wants to point fingers at people. And Comic Tom showed up in the chat and said, I respect what you're doing, and I appreciated that. So I'm going to reiterate one more time. I am not saying, we're not discussing this right now to blackball Nick or to say that Nick is a bad person. But as collectors, the lack of transparency and what seems to be a lack of responsibility is very apparent here. And we just want to know why. Because, and I say this, I want Nick to take heed to this so he can not look. Even Rome fell. Even big successful businesses get too greedy and cocky and don't understand their customer base and don't understand the market, and it bites them in the ass in the long run. I don't want people to get jaded by Key Collector to where 5 years from now they're pulling out of Key Collector. I want Nick and Key Collector to be around for years to come. They're only 3.5 years old. I want that for him. But I think in order for him to better his business, he needs to open his ears more to the community. But I also give him a bit of leeway because I know there's a lot of people out there that will never give him credit. They'll just, they'll pick up the pitchforks and crucify him no matter what he does.
Yeah.
And that's why I need to separate myself. I'm not them. But Nick, I am somebody that really, I'm a businessman and a lover of this hobby. I want you to understand that you got to look at your business model and realize, for the sake of you and your consumer base, I think that there are changes that you can make, and I think you can evolve your platform to better everyone, including yourself and your bottom line.
Well said. I think that ties a knot on this whole thing. Again, I think it's good for the comic industry, but needs to clear a lot of things up. Okay, well, that's our top 10 hottest comics of the week right there. We went off on a rant. Normally, this is our Q&A. We like to keep the show to an hour, but we are approaching 2 hours, and we want to be respectful of Joel's time here as well. One thing I do want to say, just a roundabout way, to get just everybody's opinion on what they thought. If you guys have not seen WandaVision Episode 4, leave. We were very happy you were here, that you've hung around with us, you participated, very happy. But we're going to talk WandaVision real quick, just an informal kind of chat. And maybe you guys will comment a little bit, but if you have seen it, we'll see you later. We'll see you next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for joining us. But let's talk WandaVision right now, real quick. All three of us saw Episode 4. We're gonna let Joel go for it. Let's see your thoughts on what you thought about Episode 4.
I just want to say right now, because I don't want people being like, Newbie, you said this. First 2 episodes, boring as hell. Mm-hmm. I don't think I found a few people that are like, oh my God, no, there's hidden stuff. That's great. I wasn't expecting action-packed the first 2 episodes, but like the first episode is like, what the hell was that? Episode 3 really caught on. And then this morning when I watched number 4, it was just, I was like, okay, now we're here. You know what I mean? I got a little bit of goosebumps, but I'm like, you know what? Okay, now we're here. You got to see, the Dr. Lewis from Thor. You got to see the FBI agent from Ant-Man. I loved when he was just like, Dr. Mr. Wu. the thing. I started laughing, thinking about Ant-Man, things like that. Then my mind started going, okay, whoa, where are they going? It was cool to see all the stuff that I had written down because I had like a notepad when I was watching the first 3 episodes, being like, okay, who was talking on the radio? Who was that, in the TV? And then you actually get those things. So it's kind of cool. I think the twist they took on it, I really like it. I think it's obviously going to get better, but now I think we're at the meat. We're getting to the good episodes because I ended up leaving this one with like, man, what the hell? Right?
Yeah.
Like a good way, where the last, the first 2, I was just like, oh man, come on. But yeah, definitely a great show. I think a lot of things are coming. Yeah, for sure. It leaves the door open for a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah. I hear you, man. I mean, I love the first 2 episodes. And I think, look, I think you might be a little younger than Jeff and I, but I think it has to do with a generational thing. My son said the same thing after watching the first episode. He's like, that was so slow. And I get it, but it's like, but I could appreciate, and I'm not saying that you can't, Newbie, but I definitely appreciated how spot on they took those elements and were able to recreate it, especially in the second episode. I really love the wacky kind of slap in your face humor. So I appreciated that stuff, but I do appreciate how they're building up each episode. And yeah, I mean, to see what happened, we got more of a visual of what happened after the snap or the blip when everyone,
that was great.
That was cool.
Snapped back and everyone came back. You see this overpacked hospital and people that were there 5 years ago coming back in, and it just being totally crazy. I liked seeing that. I really like the fact that it's tying so much into, because, and Jeff, we were talking about this week about this interview from Bettany about how this show, we're not even grasping the doors that this show was going to open. Even hinted at some crazy character showing up at the end, some actor that he's honored to work with. But I really think, this show can lead into, we know it's leading into Multiverse of Madness, but it can lead into Sword, into Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
It can lead into, it can lead into Nova and galactic cosmic stuff. It could just be all over the freaking place, and it's going to be crazy. And I can't wait for every freaking Friday, man. It's like, I almost want to ram my head into a wall and knock myself out until next Friday. I'm willing to do it. Just
You want to get there quick.
Episode.
You want to get there quick. Yeah, I'm loving it too, guys. Like in the first few episodes, I could see where you're coming from, but Joel, but I have a production background, and I was more interested in seeing how they were doing what they were doing and how they were going about those things, and how it was so similar to what we did see from shows from the 50s, 60s, etc. And I thought that was really fantastic, and I truly appreciated what they were doing in that respect. And I also found myself kind of like what you were doing with that notepad. Like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What's going? You know what I mean? I got to remember. I didn't have the notepad, but I was like, I got to remember this. I got to remember that. I found knowing, because us as fans, as comic book fans, as knowing the MCU the past year, they're putting these things in there, and we just don't know what they are yet, and we'll look back and be like, oh, that's what that was. So
it's always interesting too, because after an episode, especially the first one, it blew my mind, because right after that first episode, there was videos 350 eggs, Easter eggs you missed, and I'm like,
yeah.
Man, I got 5 things written down. Where did they get 250? Just this crazy.
Yeah, but it makes you sit there and think and try and pick these things up. And for them to pull the curtain for this episode 4 and see what happened with Monica, how she got in there, who she was before that, even the blip thing was fantastic. That blew my mind. She was sitting in her mother's hospital room, and that just blew my mind, right? It just outstanding. And just also to give us a sense of what it was like when people came back. Because we never saw that before, guys. We never saw that before. I thought that was fantastic.
I just remembered something too. Did you guys catch the Easter egg of when they were walking in the sword facility and you saw Maria Rambeau's picture and it said Maria Photon?
Yes.
So newbie. So what do you think that means for Monica's character? Are you gonna say you're not gonna say no?
Very hesitant right now. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna say she's gonna be Spectrum.
Yeah.
Mighty Avengers 13. Yes. Yeah, it's possible. It's going to be interesting. Like Chris said, right? A lot of characters. I think we're going to be surprised at what happens, what goes up because of it. But yeah, I'm with you guys. This is going to connect a lot of things. It's interesting to hear what people think, what characters are going to show up and things like that. But yeah, that Spectrum one. As soon as I saw that, I was like, God damn it, you know. Because you always want to be ahead of the game, right? But definitely spot on, man. Yeah, I actually, that was the only scene. So like right after that scene, they get into that like where they're building those like spaceships or whatever. That was the only time I paused it, and I thought, because I wanted to see if there was like anything like Iron Man related. I wanted to see, you know, what's going on there, secret Armored Wars, kind of something like that. I wanted to see. Because those are the scenes you want to take a look, and you know, wherever there's like computers or like machinery, that's where I'm like, okay, pause for a sec. But yeah,
there's so many. I think we'll end on this, guys. What do you expect to see happen, right? Because like Dan De La Torre, Nightmare will be a player here, boosting the value of Strange Tales 110. I mean, there's so many different things. So why don't we end it right here in terms of like, what are you guys expecting? Joel, we'll start with you.
Ooh, I'm expecting mutants. I'm expecting mutants to show up near the end. Do we know how many episodes this is going to be? Is it 10?
9.
9? Okay. Yeah, I'm expecting that. I know everybody's on Mephisto.
That's a popular theory right there.
Yeah. I think he can come. I just think it's going to end pretty bad. I think Wanda's going to end up basically creating enemies because she's trying to protect that memory of Vision. We kind of saw it in the episode that aired today, right? Where she turns around and he's like, he's like dead and the thing's off, right? So that to me says Vision is dead. It's just her memory of him keep going on. But yeah, I just think the scenes that we've seen where she's like, you know, blowing things up and she's flying or whatever, that's her fighting off Sword or whoever, because she's trying to keep this reality going. Yeah.
Again, a lot of good theories we have coming in here too. Swaggle House just said, you know, I'm still a Mephisto believer, then seeding the X gene for Eternals. Bearded Ones, I'm convinced this is Wanda in her head, but there's got to be a catalyst for why this connects to Doctor Strange. That's definite. I think we all can expect that. I love this, what P. Keel says. I'm expecting the High Evolutionary to introduce the mutants. You know, a lot of people are saying that the High Evolutionary could be in the show right now, and it could be the next door neighbor to do with the afro that was cutting through in the last week's episode, that was cutting through the
the wall in between.
Yeah, I can't remember that guy's name, but a lot of people are saying he could he could possibly be the High Evolutionary. Anyways, it could be. It's endless here. Chris, what do you got? What are you expecting here?
I think, well, you know, obviously we don't need Mephisto or anyone else right now. I think we know that these are real. She has some type of spell on this town.
Yeah.
And the people in it are real.
Yeah, I think that too. Yeah.
Spell, and they're under her spell.
Yeah.
And I think she got Vision's dead body. And he's really there in animated form because of her spell. Whatever, but he's really dead. So that's what I believe to be right now. I honestly, I don't think we're going to see mutants in this show. I don't even know if we're going to see Mephisto in this show. I think ultimately, I think the big climax is going to be Wanda being so powerful and splitting the fabric of the dimensions apart. But I will say, just to add, because of Bettany talking about there's this actor, and he called it a he. It was a he. He gave it away that it was a he. This actor that he's so honored to work with is going to show up towards the end. So it can't just be Wanda. There's something else there. So could it be an actor playing High Evolutionary or Mephisto? So yeah, I mean, there's something there, and I don't have it. I don't have it yet.
But yeah,
all I know though is that I don't think they're good. If it is somebody like that, I don't think they're going to show up until the last episode.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Mephisto or the mutants. I think it's going to be like one of those things where it's like, 10 seconds left in the episode, and then it's just kind of one of those like, hey, and there we go.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways it can go. Like, I will say this, I do think that Wanda will become a villain. To be honest with you, I really think, because you're seeing her turn right now. She's so protective of holding on to what is dear to her that was taken from her.
Yeah.
And, taking care of Monica, just throwing her out of that reality she created, and just how kind of not sinister, but super, I don't know, super. It was in a way sinister yet super protective at the same time. So doesn't mean she'll stay a villain, but I could see she's just going mad right now, dealing with all of what's going on here, right?
And my final thought, and I'm good, is Dr. Lewis from Thor. The fact that she's in the show,
yeah,
I immediately thought, okay, they might tie this cosmic, like something to do cosmic, something to do with what's going on with Thor. So that kind of brings back what Chris said, like maybe Nova or something like that. But it was interesting that they bring her in, especially with Thor going on and Guardians of the Galaxy and things like that. It's going to be interesting to see how it all connects.
Everything's at play here. That's what makes it so much fun, because everybody here is commenting on so many different things, and there's so many things we can talk about. One thing I do want to point out, all of the people on the board there, where's Dottie, right? What is her deal? Everybody's saying she could be Moonglow potentially, because Philip Jones is her husband in the comics. Philip is her husband in the Wanda reality. His last name is Jones in the real reality. So Squadron Supremes number 10, check that out from the 80s series. Swaggle House Comics and Games is a good point. Let me ask this. Why couldn't Wanda get rid of the Swan in episode 3, the red smoke that would poof around it? I don't know. What was that all about? Things like that are just like, there's something very deliberate, and there's something behind it. But what is it? Like, it's real, again, slow burn. A lot of people not into the first 2 episodes, but geez, man, if you kept at it, and we're at episode 4 now, and you still don't like it, definitely not your cup of tea. But I'm loving it.
You know what wasn't shown in this episode too is a commercial.
Oh, good point. Because we were out of that world. We were completely out of that world. Well, they did show what we saw.
Yeah.
The watch commercial. That's a very good point, though.
Actually, man, I know we can keep going. I just remembered that, and look, big kudos to my wife, who she really loves and enjoys the Marvel. We just did a whole Marvel marathon with her, and she was actually pointing out, and I was amazed. She said, why, what's the deal with it being a radio transmission? And she said, maybe that's Vision still exists through the Internet of Things, or the wavelengths, and that's how Wanda is keeping him alive or communicating with him, and why it needs to be like this sitcom or like on a TV, because she's actually communicating to him within the wavelengths or whatever. I just thought that was really
that's definitely fascinating. But are you talking about the one where Dottie broke the glass? Because that was the FBI agent. What's his face from Ant-Man 2?
No. Just the whole thing in general.
That's fascinating theory. That's a fascinating theory.
Why it's being broadcasted? You saw them; they can watch it, so it's actually something that's existing through electric wavelengths or whatever. And we know that a Vision originally came from that, from Ultron and from Jarvis. So he has that tied into his wiring and structuring. So maybe yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
That's what makes this so fun. It could be all, and that's an amazing theory, by the way. But I think we're gonna wrap it up here, though, because we could go all night. We don't usually do 2 hours, guys. We're exhausted here.
Yeah,
Chris had a show before. NEWBIE had a show before, and we're gonna wrap things up. But guys, we really appreciate you all for watching us. Thank you so much, NEWBIE, for joining us tonight. You are welcome back anytime you want, man. We would love to collaborate and do more things with you. We truly appreciate all of you guys that take the time out of your Fridays to talk comic books, to talk about the things that we love, these shows, these movies, and everything involved with that. So, Chris, what do you got?
I'm good, man. I've talked enough tonight. I appreciate you all. NEWBIE, yeah, thank you, man, for being here.
Hey, for sure, man. Appreciate it.
Listen, we'll be back. We'll be back next week, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Until then, you guys, honestly, we got to get you guys on Instagram to tell us what your fresh from the comic book shops are. We'll bring them up on screen as opposed to having to go through all of the comments and figure all of that stuff out. But again, guys, we truly appreciate you each and every week. We will see you next week. Be safe and take care.